So, is lifting weights a sin? Now, hear us out, okay? We're not saying that lifting weights itself is a sin, but we are going to talk about the intentions behind lifting weights. Why are you doing it? What is your intention? Are you lifting weights to attract girls on Tinder to sleep with as many girls as possible? Are you doing it to be promiscuous? Or are you lifting weights to attract one girl to be your future wife and the mother of your kids, to have physical strength to protect your future family? Is that your intention? Because if your intentions are to sleep with as many girls as possible, you're just signing up for a lifetime of loneliness, despair, depression, anxiety, all these like bad mental health issues that a lot of people actually face because they're being promiscuous, right? It sounds good to the flesh, like, oh yeah, like we're gonna sleep with as many beautiful women as possible. I'm gonna be like Andrew Tate, right? Having threesomes, all this stuff. Man, if you just like, I don't want to be condescending here, but if you just use your brain, you just think ahead, be like, am I gonna feel fulfilled? No, I'm not. Would I feel more fulfilled if my intention was to attract one female to be my wife and who I spend the rest of my life with, the woman of my dreams? I think I'll be a lot more fulfilled there, right? I have a family with her. It'll be so fulfilling, right? So your intentions, that's what we're gonna start diving into in the start of this episode is, are your intentions set correctly with God? So Kevin,
Hmm.
would you like to go into how to correctly set the intentions so that it
Yeah.
glorifies God? And what are some other common areas where people will set their intentions for essentially evil in God's eyes?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we know nowadays there's a lot of, you know, wolves in sheep clothing nowadays, false prophets, the Andrew Tates, the what do you call that other podcast, the Fresh and Fit podcast, all these different types of, you know, let's just call them false prophets. They sound good and they come to you with a message, the red pill. It sounds intriguing. It sounds like, oh, it's the truth. It's just the cold, harsh truth. There's a lot of this advice coming out nowadays for young men. And it is just, it is not for the good of anything. It is literally just selfish and greed built upon pride and lust. And it's not going to fulfill you, like Zell said. I fell for it. Yeah, growing up, getting into self improvement, you know, you naturally start to fall into the red pill. Yeah. We usually grow a blue pill and then you naturally start to develop and follow the red pill. That's what I notice with a lot of young men nowadays. And they see the likes of Andrew Tate and they think it's cool and they see the Bugattis and all these, cars and all this stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying having wanting to strive to be financially free is a bad thing, but I'm saying, and what we're bringing up in this episode is, what are your intentions with it all? Is it built upon pride, making yourself look good, fueling the ego, your self image? Is it built upon like greed, just wanting to take, take, take? Is it built upon lusts of the flesh, wanting to sleep with as many women as possible? As a Christian, this is not how you should live your life. As a Christian, we should try to reflect Christ as much as possible. And I find the closer you get to Christ, the more easier it gets. We should always have God as our main focus. I notice whenever you start to, you know, put something else above God in your life, it almost becomes an idol. Yeah. And it just hinders your spiritual growth, and it will eventually make you feel empty. And like Zell said, like a lot of people are getting into exercising, which is a great thing. Yeah. Lifting weights, it's a great thing. But their intentions is, I want to look, I want to look, good for the ladies. Yeah. I want to sleep with as many women as possible. And it's like, bro, what? Like, where did you get this idea from? Is this built upon Christ? No, it's not. It's absolutely not. It's not going to fulfill you. All these things are just lusts of the flesh. They're your desires. Yeah. Christ says to walk away from that. It will not fulfill you. It will not bring you true happiness. We as humans, we can be very stupid sometimes. Yeah, we just want the easy thing and the what feels good all the time. But God says no. What feels good is not what is always good. You gotta wait. All right. Imagine having a life built with one woman, who stuck with you from the start, and she was with you through it all, and you built a legacy with her. Think about how much more fulfilling that is compared to the guy that stuck on his lone wolf self-improvement mindset for 10 years, and he built up all these riches, and now women are naturally more attracted to him because he's got all this money. Now you don't know really if you can actually trust these women or not, because it's always going to be in the back of your mind, did she actually just get with me just for the money, or does she actually, have a connection with me? Does she actually love me? Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually Ziz himself said like, yeah, he built this physique and everything, and all the girls he was attracting at the festivals, it was fun in the moment, but then he got to the point where he was like, are they attracted to me for my muscles or for me who I actually am inside? So that's another thing to think about, just bouncing off what you just said there.
Yeah. And a way to combat this is to set your intentions straight with everything. Why are you doing everything? You're going to the gym, right? My personal reason is I want to be a strong father for my future kids. I want to be able to protect my family, my wife, my future kids, people around me, my friends, you know. Why do I want to have a business and a successful business and strive for financial freedom? To be able to provide for my kids, provide for my future family, to have that available time to spend with them. I don't want to be that father that's absent and not in their life, you know?
Yeah. One thing I've heard, I don't know, I don't know if this is really accurate. I heard it through other people saying that one thing that like Andrew Tate has said is that like he wants to be that father that's flying around the world, and he's off conquering the world, conquering all his missions. So his son thinks, well, my dad's like Batman, conquering the world or doing all these things, he's a superhero. That's you're not present with your kid, you're just absent. Like, and the reality is, when your kid grows up and he looks back at his childhood and he realizes all the like big moments for him as that kid, dad wasn't even there to see it. Dad wasn't there. Like, dad was out chasing money instead of spending time with me. So think about it from your future kids viewpoint when they grow up. Like, I would 100% say that you would want your kid to be like, yeah, my dad was so present. He worked hard to set up this future for me as the kid, and now I have a responsibility to keep this legacy in a sense going. This I gotta maybe your son like takes over your business that you're running, right? Keep the business going, and as long it's like a family business, right? So yeah, man, you
Mm.
gotta really set the intentions right, because if it's like, wait, let's just go into real quick, like the flesh. What is the flesh? Someone has never heard of this before. What do you mean, like following the lusts of your flesh? What is that? Kevin, do you want to briefly explain like what is the flesh versus what is the spirit?
Yeah. The flesh is like lusts, when you look at a beautiful girl and the flesh automatically just wants to go and, sleep with her, all right? It's usually more like sporadic. Well, the spirit seems to be have more patience. The spirit will give you more joy, more peace. The flesh, it's you know, in a way we're like animals in a sense, with some of our instincts and some of our emotions all the time. The flesh is our desires. What do we want? We want to just sit around all day, essentially, watch TV, eat like terrible food that we know is bad for us. And as men, we do want to, let's not lie here, we do want to sleep with beautiful women. But the spirit, what God tells us is this is not going to fulfill you. Yeah, all these things are empty to the spirit. And what I notice from following the spirit more is that it's just much more fulfilling. There's much more patience, much more joy, much more peace. It is the way. It's truly the best way to walk through life. It not only gives you more self-control, it gives you more of a stronger mindset, a stronger mentality, which essentially is going to help you. It builds you into becoming a better man, essentially built upon self-control. And yeah, man, what else would you have to say about that?
I would just say like it sounds like, to someone who doesn't like really understand the grace of God or whatever, they're pretty new to Christianity. It does sound like, oh, what, I can't sleep with beautiful girls, like that doesn't sound that good. Like, why would God take away, like, it sounds like God's stripping the fun out of life, right? Quote unquote fun. The reality is that's what the flesh wants, is that short-term quick pleasure, right? And the reason why it's like a sin to fornicate, right, is because God knows at the end of that road, if you keep falling into fornication, you sleep with as many beautiful girls as you want. God, knowing all things, knows that you're going to end up in a state of absolute depression, bro. You're going to end up feeling so shallow, so lonely. You can't even connect to a girl anymore because you've slept with so many girls. Now you want to, maybe you've decided, I actually want to settle down and have a family. You won't have that deep connection with your wife that you should have had because you decided to pursue the lust of your flesh, to sleep with all these girls in your past. Now that connection just isn't there. It's like two magnets, right? If you, they will eventually become demagnetized, right? That's you sleeping with so many different girls. If you just have one who becomes your wife and you only have slept with her, that connection is so strong. Okay. So it's not that God is saying like, no, you can't have fun. No, he's doing this is for our own good. Okay.
Mm.
In the moment, yes, like lust is tough, man. I tell you what, lust is tough. You see that beautiful girl, she's, giving you choosing signals, and you get caught in that moment, right? We've all been there. See a beautiful girl walk past, you get captivated, right? It's the flesh, easily captivated. But the thing is, you just end up feeling empty. You might spiral into such a dark depression that you end up like having suicidal tendencies. That's God doesn't want that for you. God literally does not want that for you. That's the enemy. The enemy wants to destroy you. Okay. So that's what I would have to say on the flesh, is that it's things that are like quick, temporary, like pleasures. It's the short-term gratification, right? We've all heard like Hamza, right? Always preaching about short-term gratification versus long-term. It's essentially another way of saying living in the flesh versus living in the spirit. Okay, self-improvement is nothing new. It's just religion without God. So a lot of the fundamental like principles in self-improvement is actually basically stripped from the Bible and act like, oh, this is a new thing. What's the short-term gratification? No, it's nothing new. There is nothing new under the sun. So that's what I would have to say on the flesh, just to add on to what you said, Kevin.
Yeah. It's very important that we're not, indulging in quick pleasures all the time. If you want to become a man of God, you want to be that masculine role model for your kids. You want to be that strong man that's going to be able to provide. Somebody that isn't wavered by the storm. Somebody that doesn't get affected by the troubles of life, that can just pass through. You have to walk in the spirit. You have to put Christ as the forefront in your life. When you put Christ as the forefront in your life, everything else will fall into place. The minute you take him out of that position, you're walking on eggshells again. Like you got to be turning to God every single day. God is not like you get saved once and then you never pray to him ever again. Although you'll be saved, right? But God doesn't want that for you. He wants to remain in a constant relationship with you. He wants you to turn to him every single day. Yeah. Give us our daily bread. God doesn't say, give us our yearly bread, our our monthly subscription of bread. No, our daily bread. God wants us to turn to him every single day. Yeah.
It's like a Netflix subscription.
Yeah.
$50 a month, man. Get that bread.
Well, it's true, man. Like the way to become a man is by following Christ. It gives you self-control. Self-control, I think, is one of the core values of masculinity. Self-control and being able to put off certain things, having that patience, being able to know what is actually right, and following through with it, and putting aside anything that's tempting, right? A man who is weak in the spirit is going to fall to temptations much easier. The devil is he's looking for people to tempt. He's looking for people to take down. If you're not walking in the spirit, he sees that, right? He's like, oh, this guy is weak. Yeah, this guy, he don't have the armor of God on him right now. I'm going to attack him. Yeah, I'm going to try to tear him down while he's weak. That's why we got to turn to God every single day. First thing in the morning, set your mind straight. Yeah, set your spirit straight. Set it on God when you wake up. Just have that path laid out every day. Not to be stressing and worrying all the time, like, oh, I've got to do this now. No, it's like, it's right. Yeah, as a man of God, we should walk and behave like a man of God. This is what we should. This is how we should be living. This is what Christ called us to do. You know, our life should be like a testimony. It should be like a, when non-believers look at us, they should like feel Christ off us in a way. They should be able to look at us and actually start to question their belief system. Yeah. You know, a lot of Christians nowadays, they're not living in the spirit. And this is why I see the most common complaint from atheists nowadays is, oh, but look at Christians, you know, look at the world. Like they've got LG HD TV in churches now. How is God real if this is happening? You know what I mean? And it's like, atheists will look at your life. Most times atheists will not look at God and read the Bible first. They'll look at the lives of Christians. If you want to have an impact on the people around you, you got to start walking more in the spirit, bro.
Yeah. And the reason why they will look at you instead of God is actually because, without them even realizing it, as Christians, we reflect Christ. So we are essentially the living example that we're supposed to be setting. That's why it's so important. So that, like you said, like your life should be literally a testimony through how you're living. People should be able to look at you and be like, I can see how, like, the goodness of God shining through this guy. Like he's so much happier for whatever reason. He doesn't even vape. He doesn't drink. He's just different, man. He just seems so much happier. I can feel like, without getting all woo and like spiritual new age and stuff, but like I can feel like positive energy coming off of this guy. Like I feel a light, man. I can see the light in his eyes, you know. He seems to be glowing. Like he doesn't seem to be so stressed out about things. He's calm. He's like, especially like something so small as like an act of kindness, you know. Like if, let's say at work your coworker drops something, it's just like helping them pick it up. But no one else is helping them. Everyone else is doing their own thing, but you go out your way to help them pick it up. And they remember that and be like, wow, that no one's really done that for me in so long, you know. Just things like that, like the little things, like that'll like start adding up over time. And then, you know, it's just got to set that example.
Yeah, I think now is a very important time for people to, you know, get straight with it. Like if you are a lukewarm Christian right now, I think you gotta start you gotta start changing up, man. You can't be living like this forever. All right. God does not like lukewarm Christians. Like we know that for a fact. We gotta start setting our minds right and start putting Christ at the front of our life. Right? Look at the world, look at the state that it's in right now, the degeneracy. Right? Like it's all around us. The enemy is trying to mock Christianity in every direction possible, even with other religions right now. Yeah. I see a lot of people like converting over to other religions now, like Islam and whatnot, because they essentially just think Christianity is a joke of a religion right now. But we know that we grow in weakness. Yeah. Our strength is found in weakness. So now is a good time. Yeah. If you're lukewarm, it's time to start walking in the spirit, bro. Especially if you want to build a better future for your future kids and your family. Like what we said. Where is your intention with it all? Right? You said it on Christ, your intentions are going to be straight with everything. Right? I see the way the world is going right now, and I do not want to put my future kids in the schooling system. I do not want to put my future kids got to do with any of that, man. They're teaching kids some crazy stuff nowadays. I don't know if we can say the words on this podcast. It might get taken down. So I think most of the viewers probably know what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, you see all these like children's books for like 5-year-olds, right? Thinking that they can be an LG HD TV. You guys know what we're talking about when we say LG HD TV. It's like, how can you put that in their minds, bro? They're kids, man. That's why like the intention of like, okay, I'm gonna get rich. It's not so that I can have Bugattis and all this stuff. It's so that I can have the option to homeschool my kids someday, so they don't have to be indoctrinated by the system that's currently in place. I'm sure everyone, maybe 99% of the people watching this podcast right now, we've been through the system of schooling that's in place right now. Was it good? Was it really good?
Yeah.
Don't think so. Would you want your kid to go through what you went through? I know, like, so many of us have been bullied, so many of us have been outcasted, so many of us have such negative experiences. Our creativity was shut down. All these things taught through a lot of schools taught that, like, yo, science is the new god. Basically, it's just nah, man. Like, your intentions have to be set correctly. I just want to quickly also add another point on, like, the lukewarm Christians. Like, that's where the enemy wants to keep you. He doesn't want to keep you fully in the faith. He wants to keep you like lukewarm. So you're gonna be like stumbling and falling constantly. So people can like point and laugh and be like, these Christians are crazy people, right? And the devil will not attack you when you're strong. That's something that I've realized with my own journey of faith. When you're strong in the faith, he's not going to attack you. It's in your moments of weakness. Maybe you're tired. You've been grinding at your job, right? Stacking the money, whatever. Friday swings around, bro. You're tired. That's when you get attacked. And that's when you need to, trust God more. You need to read the scripture more. You need to do more on your behalf. Okay. It's, yes, pray, but don't just sit there waiting to drown, right? There's that analogy of there was a guy stuck on a house, on the roof of a house, right? There was like a big flood and the waters were rising, about to like engulf the whole house, and he would drown if he doesn't get help, right? So he prays to God, saying like, "Oh, God, please rescue me. I'm about to drown." So a boat comes along with a few guys on it, and they say, "Hey, man, hop on the boat. We're driving off to safety," right? The guy goes, "No, no, no. I prayed to God. I'm waiting for God to save me." Then a helicopter comes around and they drop a ladder saying, "Climb up. We'll take you to safety. You're about to go on the water." And he goes, he's still sitting on his roof, and he goes, "No, I prayed to God. God will save me." And basically, what happens is the guy ends up drowning. And then the analogy is that in heaven, when the guy asked God, "Why didn't you save me from the waters? You knew I was about to drown." And God said, "I sent a boat and a helicopter, but you refused them." So it's basically what it's saying is that it's one thing to pray to God, but it's another thing that you need to actually take action yourself as well. Just pray and then do something too. Like the Bible says, flee from lust, right? Flee from it. It doesn't say sit there after you pray and just wait. No, we have to flee. We have to actually take action. That's super important.
Yeah, for real. Yep. The system is set up for us to, I think, to essentially be more dependent upon it. And I think growing up through this system, going through the schooling system, like you said, it takes away that creativity, it takes away that spark within us. And as we grow up, I think a lot of people can fall to their temptations much easier because they've just been broken down. Yeah. Society isn't built upon Christ anymore. Society is built upon like greed, pride, lust, and all these different things, and you're brought through the system. Do you think kids are really meant to be sat down in a chair, woken up by an alarm and sent into school and sit down and be still, sit down like a good little boy and sit there for hours on end just listening to a teacher tell them? Hell no, bro. They're meant to be out in nature. They're meant to be out having fun, enjoying. Yeah. They're meant to be out in the sunshine, eating good, laughing, having a good time. All these systems, the schooling system and college, and it's just implementing like so much stress onto these people, onto all of us. Yeah. The amount of stress people have walking around and built up trauma on their nervous system nowadays is crazy. I would say it's up by 200% in the past 20 years, even. And it keeps going up and up and up. And a lot of mental health issues and a lot of mental problems and mental instability comes from a buildup of stress. Stress is the killer. Stress is going to destroy you. Yeah. The antidote to stress, though, is Jesus Christ. The cure to stress is God. Yeah. But we're walking around with all this stress. Stress hinders your ability to perceive things properly. When you're so stressed out compared to when you're extremely relaxed, calm, present in the moment, at peace, there's just so much more of a difference. When you're stressed, you just can't think straight. You can't, you've got all this brain fog. You've got all these different things running through your mind. You can't set your mind straight on things. It affects the body. It slows you down. It actually is damaging to the body. Yeah. Stress is just it's only going to harm you, especially as a man. It's going to destroy your testosterone levels. Stress is constantly releasing cortisol into your body. Cortisol can cause disease and it can cause harm, a lot of mental problems, like I said. But yeah, man.
Yeah. Another thing on stress as well that we basically recently learned from, I don't know if it was in the episode or we were like talking after, with Alex Federsky, the testosterone coach. Okay, if you haven't already seen it, check it out. It's a very, very valuable episode, jam packed full of golden tidbits. And one thing that I learned from him that like really changed my mindset on something like very powerful is that this is in relation to stress. When you're in a stressful state, when your body's in a state of flight or fight, it's biologically wired into us to pass on our seed so that our gene continues. Okay. And the reason why your body's going to push this like urge to pass on your seed is because it thinks you're about to die because you're in that flight or fight state. So that's why a lot of us end up being addicted to lust, right? We've touched on lust earlier in this episode, but like, let's say you're addicted to prawn, you're addicted to fapping. A big thing of why you're addicted to it could be because you were at some point in this stressful state, something happened. Maybe there was a traumatic event or something. Maybe you just, something as simple as you weren't in a caloric surplus. So your body goes, oh, okay, we're going to spike cortisol. We're in flight or flight mode. We got to pass on our seed for our genes because we might die at any given moment. So then, like, what's quick, easy access is pixels on the screen. Your brain doesn't know any different between a real life chick or that chick on your screen. So you fat, your brain goes, okay, cool, we got our gene passed on, we're good. But then it goes, oh well, we just lost all these nutrients. We need to replenish it because basically, like, it's hardwired into us to pass on our genes. We have to be fruitful and multiply, right? So if you don't fuel your body correctly, being in a calorie surplus with the right nutrients and all that stuff, like eating nutritious, good food, then your body goes, okay, well, we're gonna have to start stripping it somewhere from the body, right? Wherever it may find it, I don't know, like organs, or maybe it sets your body into a catabolic state, but it's basically eating itself to replenish those nutrients, right? And then you're in an even more stressful state than you were to begin with, and then you end up fapping again, and you lose those nutrients again. Now your body goes, what is going on? We need nutrients, right? And so you're in an even more stressful state, and that's why you see how the cycle continues. So that's the big thing about stress, is that like blew my mind. It's like it makes so much sense why so many people just can't seem to conquer this no fap thing, right? Not to obsess about it, but just to get this sin out of their life. The big thing is you're probably just in a stressful state, but you've been in it so long that you don't even realize it, right? You're so used to it. You've become calloused to the stress that you don't even know you're in the state of stress. So it's very important that we just take a look at the basics of our health, which is what was Alex Federsky saying? Like, really, it's just basics. Are you in a caloric surplus? Eating good, nutritious food, like sleeping well. It's these very simple things that so many of us go, oh, I sleep, 6 hours or whatever. I'm doing good. Like, maybe you as an individual function fine with 6 hours, but you wouldn't know unless you sleep 9 hours and you go, whoa, I feel a world of a difference. You wouldn't know it because you become callous to how you've been feeling, right? You become comfortable feeling stressed out. That's become your default setting. And then
Yeah.
once you start to fix the stress in your life, you realize, I don't even want to fat. Yeah, testosterone is up, libido is up, and I don't want to fat. How
Yeah.
crazy is that, right? A big thing that I was doing that was really wrong is that I was in this stressful state. I didn't know I was in a stressful state. I didn't understand that I was. I had no knowledge of it. And I was taking these testosterone supplements to boost my test. I'm like, hell yeah, testosterone's going up, man. I'm doing good. Then I was still struggling with my nofap and all that stuff. It's because I was still in a stressful state, but I just had basically taken a libido boosting supplement, which is just causing all kinds of confusion with my body. I just turned on Siri. Go away, bro. Hey, yo, that sounded weird. Turned on Siri. The Resologist, bro. Anyway, but yeah, just
You're
fix
too
like,
stressed out, bro. Relax.
I'm stressing out. Anyway, like, take a look at metabolic health. That's a big thing that we've been learning recently. Like, metabolic health is so important. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear anybody talking about this, and it's mind blowing. It's so true as well. So true. And people may be like, but I'm not thinking this thing. I don't feel like I'm in a survival state. Like Zell said, you're callous to it. You've been living like this for so long because of the indoctrinations, the systems that we're living in right now, taking us out of nature, taking us out of our natural way of living. You've just become callous to the stress. And now all these different things are building up in the back of the subconscious, and all these traumas and stresses are just building up in your nervous system. No wonder you've got so many like lusts and addictions and mental problems. Yeah. We got to get to the root. Stress. I noticed just with reading the Bible and just getting closer to God, it is really just the cure to stress. You know, when you really just decide to tie down in it and go to God daily, yeah, it's amazing. Like God really gives you a peace like no other. People will look at your life and they'll see you in so much peace, and they'll just start to question like, why are you so peaceful? Where'd you get this from? Like people won't understand it, you know. People that I work with, they think like Christians are crazy. You know, I was having lunch the other day, and I wasn't necessarily talking to these groups of people. I was sort of at my own table eating my own food, and since it's a new job, I don't really know everybody too well yet. And they were talking about this one guy who was very like crazy. Yeah, he was doing all these crazy things like jumping off of buildings into like lakes, and you know, jumping off trees and doing all these just weird things, yeah. And the way they described him, they were like, "Oh, he's like a newborn Christian. He's crazy." That's the way they described this guy. Yeah, people look at Christians and they just think like we have this peace. Like people just think we're crazy. They don't understand it, but yet they're living in all these stresses and all these mental problems. You know, they can't seem to put two and two together yet. You know, and all we gotta do is pray for these people. Yeah, that they can find that peace in God someday as well. It is truly a beautiful thing. You know, I find myself, I don't know about you, Zell, but if I find myself, you know, not reading my Bible and I let it go for a few weeks and kind of like not focusing on God too much, I start to notice like stress build up, a bit of anxiety kicking in, you know, other things start to fall out of place. I start to get a little bit lazy, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
When I don't start like the morning off, like literally like first thing, gotta whip out the Bible and start reading and all that. If I don't do that, it's just everything is off. It just feels like the what's the equilibrium of life is just off balance.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm becoming a philosopher right now, but that's how it feels, man. And it's like it's to someone who doesn't actively read the Bible to hear that you go, what you read this book and it gives you like you sit down and read it and then pray and then you have this unmatched peace. Like that doesn't make any sense, bro. I'm telling you, try it. Like I can't even comprehend it. I don't know why. Daily bread. Maybe it's because you're spiritually starving and you finally feed.
Yeah.
You eat the daily bread, right? Like in a spiritual sense. Now, okay, I'm satisfied, satiated, whatever. And then you're calm. It's like you were in a state of spiritual stress. That ties into what we were talking about, like the stress in the body. I think there's actually like a spiritual stress that you go into, and then that could lead into like you falling to sin, falling into the addictions, is because you've also been spiritually stressed out because you're starving. Like we said, you're depleted of. When you fall into NoFap, you're depleted of the nutrients. You're depleting yourself of the nutrients for your spirit through reading the Bible. I just blew my own mind. Bro, the timing of that.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of jump scared me a little bit, man. No, bro, I think we're onto something here, man. That actually makes so much sense. That's the other side of it, spiritually dead. Bro, nobody's talking about this as well, man.
Dude, this is a new topic.
Bro.
The divine inspiration, man. We weren't even supposed to talk about this. We just came up with this on the spot. Yeah. Spiritual stress.
Gotta be getting that bread daily, man.
That metabolic, spiritual health maxing.
Yes, sir. We Bible maxing out here.
Bible maxing.
Yeah. It's so true, though. It's so true. Yeah. I don't know, like somebody in the comments. I wanna hear your guys' opinions on this. Like, how do you guys just feel just when you're living in the word, living in the spirit compared to when you're not? Like really, like this is just an experiment for you to do right now, right? Compare yourself to when you're living in the word in the spirit to when you're not. It's two different people.
It's like bipolarism.
Yeah, man. For real. It's two different people. Which person would you like to live more like? Obviously the spirit. So next time you get that temptation, next time you get that desire to want to do a sin, think about that as well. Think about, like, is this really the man that I want to be? Is this how I really want to feel? Like, is this going to bring me fulfillment? Is this going to further, my purpose? And is this going to further the purpose God has given me? You know, can I be a man that can spread the gospel if I keep living in this sin? You know,
Yeah.
of course we're not perfect, right? We're all going to slip up every now and then. I'm not saying, we're going to be perfect and that's it. For the rest of our life, we're never sinning again. Look, we're humans. I don't think that's possible, but we can sin less and less and less and less. And you have the capability to, rarely ever sin. Like I think we oftentimes underestimate the power of God, underestimate like the power of Christ, what God can do for our life. And a lot of people will say like, oh yeah, we are human, we are, we're not perfect, we're very flawed and all, so we are going to sin and all, but they don't realize like the power of God that's within you, the Holy Spirit that's guiding you every day, and just how far you can go with that. I think we should stop like underestimating that as well. Yes, we're not perfect. We should not we should not get this ego into us, right? We shouldn't start to boast in a way, if you kind of see where I'm coming from. But don't underestimate the power of God. I believe we can boast and be like, we can boast about the power of God, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense anyways, but yeah, man. Like, you're not a victim as well. Like, you're not weak. You came to God, you're saved, right? God is with you. You got the Holy Spirit within you. Like the enemy, like essentially God has given you now the capabilities to overcome the enemy. Yeah. God has given you that power to not be harmed by the devil. And I think it's you just got to become more in the word, more in the spirit. And I notice I don't really ever get any spiritual attacks whenever I'm really, really strong in the faith. I kind of get it whenever I'm sort of, I would say, a little bit more lukewarm and sort of putting it to the side a bit more. Then I kind of notice the more spiritual attacks.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like I was saying earlier, where it's like the enemy's going to attack you when you're weak, not when you're strong. When you're strong, like he knows, like he can't, like in a sense devour you. There's a passage that goes something like, the devil walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whomever he can devour. So if he sees that he can devour you because you've been letting the line slip, you've been spiritually starving yourself, best believe he's going to attack. But if you stay strong in the faith, you make sure you're spiritually strong. Obviously, we're all going to have weak moments throughout our life, but you can really minimize those weak moments through taking action, okay? And doing your best to stay spiritually strong, and then you're not going to be attacked as much. Because, dude, that sounds good to me. Like, okay, if I just keep reading the Bible, I keep praying, keep focusing on God, putting on the full armor of God, I do that every day, I'm going to get attacked less, right? I don't want to be attacked constantly, bro. That's what happens when you stop reading the Bible every day. That's when you go like you were saying, like lukewarm and stuff, bro. Like on the surface level, just think about it, man. Like, do you want to be attacked more or less? I don't know about you, but I don't like being attacked. It sucks to be, especially because I'm sure that the enemy knows like your weak points as well, so he's going to use that against you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's biblically accurate, but it makes sense. And for example, like with me, lust is my worst. It's been something that I really struggle with. Doing a lot better, thanks to God. But if I let the line slip, dude, the enemy's gonna, like, I'll be I'll be eating lunch at work or something. Like there's a little cafeteria or something across the road. I'll go eat there sometimes. And then there'll be a chick that walks in. She's not dressed very modestly, walks straight past me. And if I'm not living in the spirit, oh, you already know what's happening. And then I'm like, oh man. And then I feel ashamed, and then it just gets worse. So it's just, stay on top of things, man.
Mm,
Spiritually satiated, okay? Then something like that is less likely to happen. But if it happens, you're just not even gonna look. You're just gonna be like, look away. Look the other way.
mm,
Whereas a lot of guys, it's just, they just fall for it, which is
yeah,
understandable if they're not living in the spirit.
yeah. Every guy nowadays is like that though, for real. They just, it's just like they want to stare at every chick that walks by, go out drinking on the weekend, getting drunk, doing all these different things, and they'll come to a stage in their life where they'll start questioning it all, like, why did I do all that? They'll get to the end of their life and they'll be like, you know what, this didn't even bring me that peace, that happiness, and they'll regret it. So if you're a young man, you see all these people doing these different things, like, you're not missing out on anything. Like, we live that lifestyle. We can tell you it's empty. There's nothing to it. But yeah, the people around you, they're gonna influence you. That's why you gotta get them right. You gotta get it right. If you're not surrounded by other Christians, it's gonna be much harder for you. I think what's the verse in the Bible? Is something about when when two Christians are together, God is the third one there. Something along those lines.
Something like, when two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there. And I think that's God talking.
Yeah. And I truly felt the presence more, like God's presence was more and more, like you truly like feel it. It's like deep in your soul when you're surrounded by other Christians, other believing, saved people.
Yeah.
It's powerful. You got to surround yourself with those right people, especially if you want to break free from the doctrinations of society and the systems and set up a good future. You got to be surround yourself with those Christians that are willing to put in that work. Not no lazy people, not no lukewarm people. Yeah, we're out here. We're in the spirit. We're building better lives for our future, for our future kids. Our intentions are straight. We're building businesses, all for the glory of God.
Yeah. Speaking about surround yourself with the right people, there's something that isn't really talked about much. Like, you hear a lot, you got to vet the girl that you're dating. You got to make sure you check, like, is she good for me and stuff. How many of us actually vet our friends or new people that we meet who could become our friends? It's not really spoken about too much. So I think it's important that we just quickly touch on that, just to finish off this episode, is vetting friends. Like, red flags to look out for. I think just by living, like, on the righteous path, like with Christ, trying to reflect Christ to the best of your abilities, I think that naturally you will be shown red flags. You will see the red flags, because majority of people that you meet in day-to-day life aren't living correctly. Like, you will instantly tell. They go, hey bro, I'm going out to, to this party this weekend. You should come. We're gonna get drunk, do shots, and all that. You go, whoa, whoa, whoa! Look, I'm not interested in that, right? Because we know that's, it's a sin. Drunkenness is a sin. It's not supposed to be doing that. Now, there is a time and place to, like, celebrate if there's, like, a massive win you've achieved in your life, but not drunkenness. That's what majority of people do when they, like, go out and stuff. They chase drunkenness, get to a state where they just fall into any sin possible, right? So,
Mhm.
what are some ways that we can vet, like, future friends or our current friends? What are some
Yeah,
important things?
yeah. Well, like what we were talking about all throughout this episode, intentions. What are your friends' intentions with everything that they do? If they're your friend, you'll know them, you'll get to know them, and you'll see their intentions. Like, why are they doing the things that they're doing? What is the reason for it? A lot of guys nowadays, unfortunately, their intentions are just set on sleeping with girls, going out partying, and wasting their youth away, wasting their life away. Are these the guys you want to be surrounded with? Are these the guys that are gonna, you know, bring you closer to God? and help fulfill you. No, they're not. You know, what else can there be? Are these people lazy individuals? You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. If you're surrounded by very lazy, idle people, they've got no drive, no ambition, no want to do better in life, they're only going to hold you back. That negative energy, that negative sort of mindset will only, it will start to leak into your mindset and leach into your mind. And you'll start adopting ways how they think subconsciously. It's just naturally what happens when you hang around with certain types of people. You notice you actually start to take on attributes of them. You start thinking a little bit like them in certain ways. When they're lazy, you're going to start to become a little bit more lazy compared to if you're surrounded by like people that are just on it. They're working on their business every day. They're in the word. They're trying to get closer to God every day, and they're pushing you to get closer. They're trying to pull you along as well. Like, these people are going to help you tremendously. I often notice is a friend is going to be much. It can almost seem like a friend is much more cold in a way, much more harsh. He can just hit you with the truth. That's a real friend compared to somebody that's just sort of, oh yeah, it's okay, yeah. They're sort of much more easy and much more soft with you.
Yeah.
That's actually not a real friend in my opinion. The guy that I notice is much more soft with you. He doesn't tell you how it is. He's the guy that's probably talking about you behind your back. Compared to the guy that's just gonna say it straight to your face, like, nah, bro, like, you messed up with this. You need to do better. That guy is your friend. He's telling you the truth. Because not that he wants to hurt you, not that he wants to harm you. He's saying it because he loves you. He wants to see you do better. Yeah. He doesn't want to see you live like this. He wants to bring you up and he wants to help you. Yeah. And we can all help our friends in each different ways. Like, a friend group isn't always about what can I gain from this person? What can I gain from them? Right? A lot of times it's just about, are they a good person? Are they following Christ? Like, are they just like a really loving person? Not everybody is going to be up here on it all the time. You know what I mean? So there's different friends that you have for different reasons. And yeah, man, would you have any more points to add on?
I would just say it's super important that as a friend, you call out your friends on their BS. I couldn't think of a different way of saying that, but to call them out directly to their face. If you want good friends, you got to be a good friend yourself too.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I recently heard that one of my friends has a friend who slept with his previous friend's ex to get back at his previous friend because his previous friend chose another friend over him. And I hope that all made sense. Might have to rewind and hear that again.
Yeah.
But essentially, he slept with his friend's ex as like revenge sex, right? But to get back at his friend. And so I told my friend that, why are you friends with this guy? You cannot trust him. You can't trust a guy. If he's gonna sleep with that guy's ex, what makes you think he won't sleep with your ex to get back at you if you cross him, or if he feels like you crossed him? This is not someone you want to hang out with. You can't trust him. So I said directly to him, like, why are you friends with him? I like, personally, like I said, like, from an outside perspective, I'm not close to this guy. I've hung out with him a few times, but from hearing that, and that's come from multiple people, look, I'm not hanging out with him again. I don't want to, and I don't think you should either. You need to call him out on that. So call out your friends on their BS. Be that guy. Yes, they might not like you for doing that in the moment. They might like call you names or whatever, but it needs to be said. You need to. It's like you got to bring the truth to light or whatever. Like, the truth is sharper than a double-edged sword, right? So it's gonna hurt. It's gonna pierce. It's gonna cut. It's gonna be sore. But it needs to be done. Like, be that guy. Yeah, it's confrontation. Like, sucks. It's uncomfortable, but you're supposed to speak the truth, right? Rebuke that evil. Like, call it out where it is. Shine the light on the darkness, because the light overcomes the darkness.
Yeah.
You need to be that guy that says that. And if you yourself mess up big time, if you're the one that messed up, you need to, like, humbly admit, like, look, look, man, I messed up with this. I know this was wrong. And then you have to take full ownership, full accountability for your wrong actions and, do what needs to be done to improve yourself. Maybe you've been the bad friend. Just the humility of just like admitting where you've done wrong, just being open and honest and just willingly accepting like all the rebuke from your friends and stuff, just being able to just like take it all without like reacting emotionally and being like, no, playing the victim, no, it wasn't me, it was because, no, just like accept, like, I messed up, man.
Yeah.
And you'll know that you're surrounded with good friends if they acknowledge, okay, well, he's admitted that he messed up, he's actually handling this open rebuke, and he's actually making the change, he's doing better. That's how you know you got a good friend. Like if your friend messes up, call them out on it, and they admit as well that, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, I'm going to do better, actively try, you support them. That's how you grow. That's how iron sharpens iron, because we're all going to mess up eventually. Okay,
Yeah.
so I just wanted
Yeah.
to throw that in there.
Yeah. Don't put yourself on a high horse. You may be the guy that's going to fall off as well. And you may need your friends to help build you back up as well. So be the guy that's going to be there for them as well, if that's what you expect. Another red flag that I see a lot of the time is if a man is not loyal to his girl, a man is not loyal to his wife, how can you trust this individual? I think one of the most important investments that you can make in your life is the woman that you decide to marry. And if a man is not loyal to this girl, how can you trust him to be your friend? How can you trust him to be your brother? And that's a big red flag if he's not loyal to the one girl that he's going to spend the rest of his life with. You think he's loyal to you, man? I don't think so. Yeah. And that's another thing, like, you got to have boundaries. And if your friends are overstepping them boundaries, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, Brev. For example, I know a lot of guys, they do not, like, if they break up with a girl, and it would almost be more heartbreaking if their friend got with their ex, That's how I'd feel. Like, if one of my friends go with one of my exes, like, it's just weird, man.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And it's like, personally, I would never do that. I would never do that to a friend. I feel like friendship is built upon trust and loyalty and having each other's back and sticking to those boundaries and having that respect for each other. Yeah. Respecting each other's boundaries and respecting each other through everything. Yeah. Having that brotherhood. Your friend should feel that trust, should feel that he can rely upon you. Yeah. That he knows, you've got his back and he's got your back through no matter what comes your way. Right. And if you don't feel that, talk to him about it. You don't feel that, just try to discover what's holding you guys back. Right. What are the red flags? Do you think there is actually any red flags there? Are you overthinking? Truly, I think you should vet your friends as well. Our friends are very important. They are going to influence us, just like the woman in your life. You should vet the woman. You should absolutely vet your friends. But
Yeah, fully agree. I think that's a good way to end this episode.
Okay, man. We shall end the episode then. Zell, you gotta sleep.
I still gotta eat another meal, man. Bulking. Gotta get that metabolic maxing gains, bro.
Let's go. All right. Don't forget that daily bread, bro. That spiritual bread, all right?
Yes, sir. I just want to say a quick verse.
Yes.
Just speaking on that stress. Psalms 55, verse 22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So I think that perfectly sums up dealing with the stress. Just cast your burdens upon God. He's there for you, man.
Amen. Amen. All right, everybody. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate every single one of you. And we'll catch you all next week.